Earlier this week, we told you attorneys for St. Luke's filed a motion in the state's highest court to get the Gem County Sheriff to serve anti-government activist and former candidate for governor Ammon Bundy legal papers, something Sheriff Donnie Wonder decided was too dangerous to do anymore. Last week, Sheriff Wonder wrote a letter saying Bundy was being confrontational, and the sheriff wasn't really willing to risk the safety of his deputies over a civil case.
Well, as we reported, Sheriff Wonder had a change of heart yesterday, writing another letter saying he would once again abide by his statutory duties. So today, St. Luke's attorneys pulled their motion, called a writ of mandamus, since the sheriff agreed to do his job. All of this stems from protests Bundy and his friend Diego Rodriguez organized outside St. Luke's in Boise last March. Those protests were over the removal of a child from his parents, known as Baby Cyrus, after Health and Welfare determined he was malnourished and, quote, in imminent danger.
So Bundy and his People's Rights Network claim the boy was medically kidnapped by doctors and Child Protective Services. This all led to the hospital having to go on lockdown for a couple hours, had to divert patients, and they didn't allow visitors. Last May, St. Luke's filed a lawsuit for defamation and several other claims against Bundy, his campaign, and his People's Rights Network. Rodriguez and his organizations were also named in the lawsuit. St. Luke's claims there was a concerted effort to disrupt hospital business. False statements were made about CPS, and the hospital and its staff were attacked online. St. Luke's wants the harassment to stop and to get the false and defamatory stuff posted online taken down.
Neither of which have or has happened. Bundy has refused to show up or take part in any of the proceedings related to this lawsuit, and the judge put an injunction and a protective order in place to stop him from he and his followers from harassing, threatening, intimidating any other potential witnesses during this lawsuit. St. Luke's attorney Eric Stidham says Bundy violated the judge's order and is now in contempt of court, so the judge issued a civil warrant for his arrest. That was yesterday. So this is the fourth time attorneys have brought up contempt issues in court.
Stidham also asked for what's called a default judgment in the case last week. I actually talked to Bundy on the phone today for about half an hour, and he told me, quote, "I'm sure they want to destroy me."
The high points are the writ will be withdrawn. The sheriff has recommitted to his obligations regarding service, and we're waiting on some clarification on our motion for default. There are also a number of other issues in front of the court that she's considering, including sanctions against Mr. Rodriguez and Mr. Bundy. And we've also asked her to compel Mr. Bundy to appear at a deposition on behalf of some of these corporate entities that we believe are involved in the grift.
Would you say you wouldn't have to take all these steps if he would just comply from the outset?
Of course. We wouldn't have had to have taken all these steps but for Mr. Bundy's actions. And by the way, that includes not only not appearing in this case, but continuing to harass folks in violation of the judge's orders. So there's a myriad of reasons why Mr. Bundy needed to be served with process. Now, had he appeared or had he been willing to accept service, none of this would have been required.
Bundy told me in a phone call Thursday he's not showing up to hearings or responding because he can't afford to pay attorneys to represent him, and he can't defend himself against a powerful St. Luke's and their lawyers. Bundy feels the best way to, quote, logically mitigate damages is to allow them to get a quick default judgment, and he'll deal with the consequences. He thinks civil process servers would still come serve him if he chose to fight back. He says St. Luke's wants him to do something that'll be beneficial to them, which is for him to get upset. Bundy told me, quote, "I gave them that, and I wish I wouldn't have, but it still doesn't change the fact that they're harassing me."
He asked, why would St. Luke's and its attorneys not file a default judgment from the beginning if that's what they ultimately wanted, was his assets and for him to pay up? Why not just do this from the beginning?
So broadly speaking, there's two reasons. One is procedural. Because of different steps that needed to be taken in the case regarding amendments, we were not able to move promptly to a default judgment. There's also, to be candid, strategic reasons. I mean, we believe, and we've alleged in our pleadings, that this is a grift. A tragic situation regarding this infant was used by Mr. Bundy and the others in order to raise money, feed the beast that is the People's Rights Network financially, get the publicity, drive up membership in People's Rights Network. We believe that that cynical grift is what's behind all of this. And then connect it to now, we believe the reason Mr. Bundy didn't appear is because he doesn't want the hood opened up on how this operation works.
You want to unveil his finances so you can expose what this protest was really, you believe, about in the first place.
Yes. First, I want to make it clear, there were really significant damages, financial, that St. Luke's suffered because of this. We have an expert report that estimates the loss, immediate loss to St. Luke's. That includes lost patient visits, disruptions, security costs, at like $3.5 million. This was not a cost-free harassment. And then if you look at the ongoing security concerns for St. Luke's, the number of damages and costs to St. Luke's get in the tens of millions of dollars. And that's all been reviewed by an expert with serious scrutiny. There's no fluff in that. Those are real hard damages. Then you have the emotional damages of those affected and doxxed. I don't know how you put a price on that.
In a YouTube video Bundy posted right after our phone call Thursday, he pushed back against what Stidham just said.
I get to speak my mind. I get to say what I want to. And I don't get to damage you, right? I don't get to damage you, but I get to say what I want, and that's exactly what I did. But you're using the courts to basically just destroy me because I spoke out bad against you. And you're lying. You're flat out lying, Chris Roth and Eric Stidham. You're saying that Diego and I did these things for gain, to get money and to get donations and to get subscribers. That's just such a bunch of garbage. It's a flat out lie, and you know it. There was only one thing that we were after. One thing. And that is to get that little baby back to his mother.
He also told me doxing the people involved in the Baby Cyrus case is the, quote, only accountability they get for taking babies from loving parents. Despite this lawsuit, Bundy says he'll continue to name names. And he says the Bible even encourages defamation. St. Luke's asked the judge to set a prompt hearing in Ada County where a jury will hear the case. Stidham says the judge hasn't ordered the default judgment yet, but will, of course, continue to follow that. As far as the civil warrant goes, Bundy said in his YouTube video today, he won't turn himself in. And while there's no deadline to arrest him, Stidham does believe the Gem County Sheriff will act on the warrant quickly, especially given the situation that unfolded this week.
Right. The defamation case, though, has been going on for more than a year, and this is the first time we're hearing from attorneys and others involved in this case. Stidham says, given all the defamation, misinformation, the inciting of violence, St. Luke's leaders do not feel they have any other options right now but to answer reporters' questions about this. They claim telling the public what's going on with this lawsuit is their way of standing up for their employees and patients and anyone who is a target of, quote, conflict entrepreneurs like Mr. Bundy.